Well, welcome to another edition of Freaky Smart Marketing. So glad you could be here today. And in this podcast, we took a little bit of a break. Now we're back podcasting, and we're going to be fielding a lot of questions that are both our clients and that I've been receiving on Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, as you know, I have the Small Business Growth Method, which is my 3-step method for getting a constant flow of leads, consistent sales, and a thriving business. And I've developed this over about a 20-year period of working in the marketing and sales industry. So right now we're going to be working on step 1 in our foundation, and we're going to be talking about our target audience. Now, some of you will be seeing this video and others will not. Others will be just listening to the podcast either on iTunes or Stitcher, etc. But I'll try to explain it as much as I possibly can. So right in front of me, I have the target audience worksheet. And the reason for this worksheet is we found that when we're developing our ideal customer avatar, that we need to go through a series of questions. And we need to really define and have a way of finding our audience, that ideal customer, on the social media platforms, especially if we're going to be running ads like Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or Pinterest or Instagram, whatever it may be. And so we have to break it down into a way that we can find those audience and target specific aspects of that audience. And we're going to create several different target audiences to use within our Facebook advertising, and that also goes for Instagram. But it also overflows and overlaps into LinkedIn, etc. So what I'm looking at right now is the target audience worksheet. Now, this leads you through 9 questions, and it's supplemental to the ideal customer worksheet that we have as well that helps you get the demographic information. Now, the target audience worksheet that we're going to work on today, this is more geared towards finding those interests that you're going to use to target your audience. So the very first question we have is, who are the thought leaders, gurus, influencers, or the big brands within your audience? Now, that could be a big question. So as an example, why don't you head on over to Google, and I want you to put in a Google search, bring up a new tab, and we'll put it into professional bass fishermen. We'll just Google that. And Google will bring up a list of names. Now you can put professional bass fisherman 2018 if you'd like. That doesn't give them quite the right one. Yeah, that gives us a different search. But just put in professional bass fisherman and it gives us a list. It starts out with Michael. I'm going to butcher these names, so have to forgive me. Michael Lacanelli, Rick Klum, Skeet Reese, Edwin Evers, Casey Ashley, Larry Nixon, Mark Davis, Luke Clausen, Clay Dyer. Gives you a whole bunch of names. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy some of those names, like Michael Lacanelli. I think that's how you spell his name. And I keep it over here on a separate little notepad, a piece of just whatever you use on your Mac. I use TextEdit, PC. I'm sorry, I don't know what you use because I like to use computers at work. Just kidding. For those people who like PCs, that's up to you. So I'm going to put Rick Clune. I'm just going to copy some of these names down. Skeet Reese and Edwin Evers. I'm just going to do the first 4. So I copy them over here on my notepad. And then I go into my Facebook Business Manager account and I go to Audience Insights. And when you go to Audience Insights, the first thing that pops up is a little box that says choose an audience to start with. Everyone on Facebook or people connected to your page. You want to go to everyone on Facebook. Now, on the left-hand column, it says create audience, and you have several different choices. Location, and the first one gives you United States, all of the United States. Then age and gender, interests, connections, pages, and advanced. So for the most part for this podcast, we're going to leave those alone. But we are going to look here in the interests. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our notepad where we've jotted down some of these professional fishermen like Michael Iaconelli. I guess it's an I because I copied it. I'll put it in there. And I'm going to copy that over and place it right here in the interest section. And actually, he comes right up. And it is an L. Mike Iaconelli, athlete. So I'm going to click on that. Now, the data over here in the center and to the right on the audience insights, it says new audience, 150,000 to 100,000 to 150,000 monthly active people. So what does that mean? That's an estimate based on the placements and targeting criteria that you selected that include factors like Facebook user behavior, user demographics, and location data. They're designed to estimate how many people in a given area could see your ad. So that's a possibility. So great. So that gives us 150 to 150,000 potential audience. Now you can look down here at the age and gender. It gives 6% women and 94% men. Well, that's kind of figures for this audience. I mean, it is bass fishing. Not that women don't like it, but it's going to be kind of a male-dominated deal. And you can look down here farther and see some of the other data like relationship status, education level, job titles. We can go to another tab, page likes. Now this one is really important because this also gives you what other pages do people who like Mike Iaconelli, the people who like them on Facebook, what other pages do these people like? Well, athletes, it gives Hank Cherry, Bobby Lane, Jeff Critt, sports teams, Bassmasters, public figures, organization Bassmasters, boat services, bassboatforsale.com, bass cat boats, skeeter boats. It gives us all sorts of different information. So you can go down and analyze this and really kind of get a bigger picture of the places that your particular audience is looking at online. Then scroll down a little bit farther and we get to page likes. Now this is even better because this gives us a list of people that Facebook pages that are likely to be really relevant to your audience based on their Facebook page likes. So like Mike Iaconelli, we've already got that. So the affinity for him is 8,836 times. So that, I mean, people would really be interested in that. Hank Cherry, 8,500. Bobby Lane, 8,300. Jeff Critt, 8,200. And I'm rounding up just to make it easier. But that's what these people, so you can go ahead and expand your list by using that. So we're going to save that. And now I'm going to go up, so he's over here on the left-hand column under my interests. I already have Mike Iaconelli there. So I'm going to go back to my scratch pad, my text edit. I'm going to copy the next name, Rick Clune. Rick Clune, C-L-U-N-N. I'm going to copy that over here. I'm going to put that in the interests. Yep, he comes up too. Great. Now, between Mike Iaconelli and Rick Clune, now I have an audience size. I'm once again back on the main audience insights page under new audience. It gives me an audience size of 150,000 to 200,000. Now we want this audience size for most things. Now local advertising is a little bit different, but we want this audience to be between 500,000 and 1 million people. That tends to be kind of the sweet spot. It's okay if it's a little less, it's okay if it's a little bit more. Now if you're a local business and you're only catering to people in your local geographical area, that number might be less. But in that case, you'd probably be adding in over here in the location, you'd be adding in like your zip code or your zip code and 3 or 4 other zip codes or a radius around your business. So that audience by very nature is going to be smaller, and that's okay. So we're going to keep doing that. So let's try Skeet Reese. I'm going to put him in the interest, cut and paste him, and he's in there as well. Oh, didn't really change our audience size. It stayed between 150 and 200,000. Okay, but so we'll keep him there. Now Edwin Evers, got him. Let's copy him from our scratch pad, put him over in the interest box. He's there as well. Oh, there you go. Now that moved our audience size up to 200,000 to 250,000 monthly active users. That's fantastic. So that's really good. So what I'm going to do now is I would keep going down this list of these top bass fishermen. Let's try it. Here's another one, Casey Ashley. I'm going to try him. I'm going to put him over on my scratch pad. Let's take them now. Let's take them over and put them in the audience insights under the interest box. Cut and paste. Now he does not come up. So he is not available to target on Facebook. Now I'm glad that happened because I wanted to show you that not everyone you're able to target. For some reason, Facebook reserves some people and doesn't do others, and I couldn't really give you the reason why they do that. They just do. So now I'm going to go back over here to my scratch pad. I'm going to take Casey Ashley off the scratch pad. He's not going to be there. So then he's there. Now for the time, I could keep going. You want to do this until you get your audience size up to at least 500,000. You can keep going up to 1 million, 1.5 million. Don't really go beyond that because then your audience gets too broad. But you could divide it up. You could, if you have 25 names over here in your in your list of like who are the thought leaders, gurus, or influencers or big brands in your market, you might want to divide up this audience into 2 audiences. So what I'm going to do now, let's say I'm done with this. I've got as many names in here I want. I'm going to save this audience. So I'm going to go to the top, and across the menu it has your business manager account name, and then it says create new, open, save, and more. So you're going to save that, and you're going to save that audience and give it a name. Let's say let's put I'm going to put professional, if I can spell it right, professional bass fisherman. How about the EN? Okay, fisherman, and I'm going to hit save. And now Facebook is going to go through and they're going to create that audience, and it takes a few minutes sometimes to prepare that audience. Now you have an audience ready to go out and put ads or promote posts to. Now we're going to do this for a couple other sections in the target audience workbook. So now we come back down here to question number 2. What does your audience read? What books, magazines, newspapers, journals? So if I were doing this, I'd Google search top bass fishing magazines. So let's go back over here to Google and let's put that in. Top bass fishing magazines. Now we get another list of magazines. Let's see, Bassmaster, Bassin Magazine, American Angler Magazine, Fly Bass Fisherman, and a whole bunch of other ones. So you'll copy those down, you'll put them on your scratch pad like we've done with the first ones. Then you'll come back to your audience insight. You'll clear out the interests. You'll start over with a new one. You'll clear out those interests and put each one of those magazines or books in this interest area to create another audience, and then save it as Bass, whatever name you want. But that's a whole nother audience that you can then target. Now, one that I want to get to, so right here, what industry events does your audience follow or attend? Now, this could be a really good one because if your audience has a specific industry event that they go to, then it's highly likely that they're going to be interested in your product offering. So we could Google top bass fishing events or top bass fishing tournaments. So let's try top bass fishing events. I'm going to put that over in Google on this other tab. I'm going to click on that. Now, first link on Google, it says top 10 bass fishing tournaments in the US. Perfect. I'm going to click on that link. And my internet's going really slow, but it'll get there in just a second. And so here is a page. It's a blog post. And in this blog post, it tells about eligibility, tournament eligibility regulations, 2017's top 10 tournaments. Okay, number 1, Bassmaster Tournament Trail. So they have a series. So we're going to copy Bassmaster and put it in our scratch pad. Bassmaster Tournament. Let's see, number 2, the Walmart FWL Tour. So that is the Walmart Fishing League Worldwide. So we'll make sure we get that whole name down. EAGUE, and then Worldwide. Okay, perfect. Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Tour. All right, we're going to copy that. Put that in here. Okay, we'll do a couple more. American Bass Anglers Ram Truck Open Series. Ooh, sounds fun. I am not a bass fisherman, by the way. I'm just using this as an example. Okay, so we got a few in there on our scratch pad. Now let's go over to our audience insights. Let's create a whole new, let's refresh it so we get everything out of there that we've done. Okay, and make sure that it's all your previous work's done, and mine's not, so I gotta get rid of them. Okay, now I'm back to just the very beginning. So now I'm going to take Bassmaster Tournament from my scratch pad. I'm going to go over here to audience, into interest box again. I'm going to put in Bassmaster. It didn't come up. Bassmaster. Oh, there it is. So when I typed it in, it came up Bassmaster Classic. Perfect. 350,000 to 400,000 monthly active people. Great. So now let's try these other ones real quick. See what we can. Walmart Fishing League World Tour. Nope, that doesn't come up. Fishing. We'll type it in. Sometimes if you type it in, it comes up. And this one doesn't come up. Okay, so we're going to take Walmart Fishing League World Tour. Sorry, I can't speak. And we're going to cross that off of our list. Now the next one, Big Bass Tour by Bass Pro Shops. Let's see if that, I'm going to copy that. Perfect. And it doesn't come up. Let's try only part of it. Big Bass Tour. See if that does anything. Sometimes you got to be a little tricky. Oakley Big Bass. Yep, Oakley Big Bass Tour. So that comes up. Now our audience is up to 350,000 to 400,000 monthly active people. Now we can go across right below that to our page likes. Click on it, and we can see what other things are these people looking at. Are there any other big events listed on the page likes that our audience likes? And right now I'm not really seeing any on this audience, so that's okay. All right. The Bass University. Oh, that looks interesting. So if we find something we're interested in, like under top categories, education, it gives us a link to the Bass University. Let's look at that and just see what that is real quick. You click on it, it'll open up a new tab, and it'll bring up that page. Learn to catch more and bigger bass. Huh. It's got over 100,000 people like this page. So this might be a very good place to target if we were selling something to bass fishermen. So let's go back to Audience Insights and let's put in Bass University. The Bass University right then and there. Okay, perfect. It's there, so we can put it in. Now we can go and save this as a new audience, and we can send out ads. Now the reason why you want to do that, and you want to create a separate audience for each one of these questions, is that you can use it for testing. You can send ads or create an ad set only to the audience of the bass fishing professionals or the bass fishing events, and you can see which one you get a better conversion rates and therefore better return on your investment that way. Now let's go back to the audience worksheet. Now some of the other questions: what websites, blogs, groups, social medias do they read or follow? You can look at that. Where do they live? Now that comes into play, like I said, if you're doing a geographical area or zip codes or in a radius around your business. What tools does your audience use? Question number 6. Now, what tools? Now, this could be a really good one. Best bass fishing lures. So if you're selling some product that is an accessory or that has to be used, a tool of some sort, this is a really important question. What tools is your audience already using? Is it complementary to other tools out there? Is it competing with other tools? Now, you could also use this question to find out if you can do affiliate sales for something else that's complementary to your product or service, as kind of a profit maximizer. You put that on the very end of your sales funnel, and then about 10% of the people will take that, and it's just money in the bank for you. So that's a really great one. Now what I want to get to is questions number 7 and 8 and 9. So question number 7, what frustrations or pain points do they experience? Meaning, what is the pain that your audience experience on a daily basis? So now this one, it's good to do YouTube searches or Google searches. So let's take bass fishing struggles. Let's YouTube that. Let's go over to YouTube. Sometimes I get upset because all sorts of crap pulls up on YouTube. So I'm going to go to YouTube search, and I'm going to put in bass fishing struggles. And here are the top videos. Now keep in mind, YouTube is a search engine. It categorizes, it's owned by Google, it's a search engine. So the things that come up first are going to be on that first page of results. They're going to be the top of the mind of your audience. Now here's a bunch of videos, the struggles of pre-spawn bass fishing. So I'd make note of that. I would create this list of what the struggles are that you're seeing in your industry, because this is going to come up. You're going to need this for your copywriting. You're going to look at it instead of just guessing and saying, oh, well, I think the audience needs this. That's a very arrogant, self-centered way of going. We should really look at it as a step out of ourselves and our own bias and look at it from the perspective of our audience. And we can do that by these Google and YouTube searches. Really helps put that into focus for us. So I make a list of all these struggles that I see only on the first page. Interesting. Lower Colorado river bass fishing. That would be really great if you're a local place or for people planning to go to the Colorado River. Big swim bait fishing struggles. Where do bass go in early spring? Understanding how the weather affects bass fishing, wind, pressure, rain, moon phases. Interesting stuff. Get better bass fishing in muddy water with these tips. How to select the right topwater lure for bass fishing. I mean, great stuff here that you can use for your copywriting or creating a product that fits this market. So let's do the same search. Let's go over to Google and let's do the same search on Google. By the way, you don't have to restrict it to Google. You can go on Bing or whatever search engine you want. Okay, right here. 5 reasons you struggle to catch bass. Oh, okay. 23 fishing struggles that all anglers will understand. Great, fantastic. These are the top searches in Google. So if I was creating a piece of content or a product, these are the top things I would address with that topic. Staying positive after struggling from Bassmaster. The top 5 threats to bass fishing. Interesting. The 11 worst struggles of being a fisherman. So there you have it. Those are really great things that you can use for your own copywriting or creating a product. Okay, let's go to question number 8. What kind of how-to content are your competitors publishing out there, the top competitors? Well, let's do another YouTube search for bass fishing how-to. So I'll go back to YouTube. I'm on my YouTube tab. Bass fishing how-to. Let's search that. And here you go. Beginner's Guide to Bass Fishing. Beginner's Guide to Bass Fishing Part 5. So there's a Part 1, Part 5. So there must be a Parts 2, 3, 4 as well. Bass fishing. Can't get a bite. Here's 3 ways to catch some. So here is a plethora of stuff that other people are publishing. I mean, I call it the piggyback method, because you're piggybacking on these other people's efforts. They've gone out, they've done the work, they've researched it. Now they're getting their stuff at the very top of the search engines of Google and YouTube. So you want to emulate that as well. So let's jump over to YouTube, bass fishing how-to, or to Google. We're on Google right now, so I'm going to put that in the Google search box, and we're looking at a tab. Comes up with a list. 10 bass fishing secrets from professional angles. Save shredded worms. Oh, okay. Red fools the fish. Skip your bait. Keep your hooks sharp. Number 5, look at your live well water. Number 6, face the wind. blah blah blah. So I don't know what any of those mean because I'm not a bass fisherman. Technically, I'm a fly fisherman, and I live in Wyoming, so we don't really have bass in this part of Wyoming. We have trout. We do brown trout, rainbow trout, cutthroat in the local river I have here. I go fishing a couple times a week, and I catch cutthroat or sometimes cut bows, which is a hybrid between rainbow trout and cutthroat. The Forest Service and the fishing games say we don't have them, but I catch them all the time, so we do have them. Anyway, so once again, we have a whole bunch of wealth of information. The 6 best bass fishing techniques right there on the first page. How to bass fish. 25 tips for catching a 10-pound bass from Field and Stream. So you're getting a picture of how to really do your research on these topics. And this is a wealth of information. Now, let's go back to target audience worksheet. Question number 9. What makes your audience unique, or how do they identify themselves? Now, this is an interesting question because this is really actually the only real subjective question here. You can go and look it up. For instance, I'm a ClickFunnels user. I love ClickFunnels. I love listening to Russell Brunson. I have my t-shirt, which I'm not wearing today, that's a Funnel Hacker t-shirt. Now, that market, all those people that follow ClickFunnels have identified as funnel hackers. That's how we identify ourselves. So in what way does your target audience identify itself? How does it do that? Is there something out there, like for instance, Lady Boss? Have you heard Lady Boss brand? Man, they do a fantastic job, and I see Lady Boss popping up all over the place now. So that's a way that they're identifying their market. You look for an audience. For instance, you've heard the jokes about vegans and about CrossFit people. What do they have in common? Well, within 30 seconds of meeting a vegan or somebody who does CrossFit, they tell you they're vegan or they do CrossFit. That's how they identify, and they're rabid about it. They're excited about it. And so that's what you need to look for in your market. Is there a way that your audience is unique or self-identifies? So just kind of wrapping up this episode, it's gone a little bit longer than I anticipated. If you'd like to get this target audience worksheet, just let me know and I'll make it available. We'll make it for a download for you. I highly recommend that aside from creating your ideal customer avatar, you also go through this target audience worksheet, just like I've showed you. Google search them for each question, put them on a scratch pad or text edit or whatever you want, and then go put them on Audience Insights. And if they're not available on Audience Insight as a targeting possibility, just take it off and don't worry about it. But then create a separate audience for each one of these questions. Like, I have an audience for gurus, I have an audience for books, I have an audience for tools, for website blogs, for events. And I make different offers to each one of those different audiences. And I find that some audiences, like I market to small businesses, sales funnels, I find when I target the tools that audience use, things like Infusionsoft, ClickFunnels, Salesforce, Aweber, MailChimp, etc., like that, those kind of tools, I get a much higher response rate, up to 66% on one of my landing pages right now. Somewhere else, other audiences, like if I go the guru route, it's more like a 30% rate. But sometimes those leads are of a higher quality. But it all comes down to testing and what you're willing to do. Anyway, hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Freaky Smart Marketing, and please leave a review and let me know what I can do better, because I always am looking to improve. Hey, thank you so much, and we'll see you in next week's episode.